Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Community Watch here on Metro TV. I'm coming your way from Thréát here in Accra, and where I am specifically is not that far from the Shangri-La bus stop or the Accra Polo Court. About 2 minutes drive is the Kotoka International Airport. On today's edition, we are coming to talk about Gully ports. Gully ports. I am on a pedestrian walkway or pavement, as you may choose to call it, next to the Liberation Road. So this highway you see runs all the way from Accra Central, from Tema Station, all the way to Medina, Adenta, and several gully ports lined up on this pavement have their leads broken or taken away. These openings you see right here links to underground tunnels, which is for wastewater to be channeled all the way into the ocean. But because the leads or the coverings have been taken off, perhaps destroyed or stolen, we have a situation where they now pose threats to lives such that they've become death trap. And just before we start, I want to read to you a message I received some time back from a viewer, and he shared pictures of the situation to me. He sent this picture on the 13th of January 2021. So it's been more than a year. And we've been hoping that authorities will step in and then address or attempt to reach and ensure that the openings are covered, but to no avail. So let me quickly read his message. Then we inspect these gully ports you see one after the other. JB Abdul message to say, good morning. Thanks for the good works. Describing what we do here on Community Watch on Metro TV as good works. He starts by saying, please, if you can, send your cameras to see for yourself death traps, which starts from the junction of one of our former presidents, Honorable or His Excellency J. Kufuor, along the pedestrian walk from the main road at Airport 2nd. On the right side of the road, they have removed the slabs that covers the entrance of gutters, which is very alarming. Someone can just fall inside and die. And indeed, when we came over to inspect the pits, we've realized that they are very deep. The tunnels are deep, such that unsuspecting persons walking at night could just sleep and then fall in, either get injured or even death may become the end result. So I responded to say that we will be following up, and he followed up to share some pictures with me. So these pictures you are seeing are from JB Abdul. We thank him so much. So let's now start by looking at the pits one after the other. This is one, and then the second one is right here. And because it isn't covered, it's most likely to be collecting waste. Authorities would have to then invest money or commit money to ensure that they are fixed. Join me as we look at the others right behind me. So we are moving from the Thréát end towards the airport junction, and then look at how best we can have it addressed. Come along. So I am at the third gully port. It is almost covered by weeds. And the way it is, if you are coming or using this pavement and you don't take good care, you just may end up thinking that you are still on the pavement, on the concrete pavement, and may end up falling into it. Concerned individuals placing branches like this in it, hoping that it would ward off or caution passers-by. But is this enough? If the metallic covers are not helpful or they are prone to theft, why are we not at least even replacing them with concrete slabs? I may not be that experienced technically, but my concern is it has to be attended to, whichever way you look at it. So let's move on and see what the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th galley pots will look like. At the 4th galley pot, it is a branch of a palm tree which has been placed on. But the question is this enough to bring about safety on this pavement such that it would prevent an unsuspecting passerby from falling into this deep pit that we have right here? Here is the 5th galley pot or catch pit, and this time around we can see a makeshift cover, wood slabs, not even covering it entirely, only so you are able to notice that, look, there is an unusual situation here, so you take good care. But if you're not cautious enough and you step on this, it just would break apart and end up hurting yourself or falling into this pit that you are seeing. It's a drain and an underground tunnel which has its covering, the original covering, taken off. So that's our feet. So here we go again. The 6th galley pot. This time around, it has not only wood slabs, but blocks, concrete blocks also having been placed in there. And I suspect that just like this small concrete block that you see, a chip, these blocks, concrete blocks that I see inside there, were also perhaps placed around the pit you are seeing, so that anyone who comes around gets to know that there is danger ahead. But eventually, they've all found their way into this drain. And in the process, it's going to get choked. I can see plastic waste also in there, getting the drain choked. And the authorities, the local assemblies and government, central government, would have to pay money to use the taxpayers' money to get it addressed. So why can't we rather fix it properly, permanently now, so that we don't have to pay more in the future? That's the 6th galley pot, the broken galley pot, the galley pot without covering, an eyesore. Let's check the 7th galley pot. Here is the 7th galley pot with big stones collections in there, blocking the drain. The covering also off. Concerned individuals, knowing perfectly that this isn't appropriate, this isn't in the best of state, have then bandaged to pluck or cut some branches. Hello sir, shall we talk to you briefly about this situation? How do you find it? Do you walk along this highway often? Do you use this pavement?
No, it's my first time.
It's your first time, but have you observed how some of the tunnels have their openings uncovered? Is this the best? How do you find it? Even upon first sighting, how do you find it?
Yeah, I don't think it's the best because maybe someone in the evening will be passing and then he can just maybe trip into it or something. I don't think it's the best. It should be covered.
Okay. So his word is emphatic. Even upon sighting it for the very first time, he believes that no, this isn't the best. So that's the 8th galley pot for you. Let's see how the 9th would also be. Come along. Next to the 9th galley pot, it's no different. Uncovered, risky, and deadly.
Koloju, Irene, Yvonne. I use this part often. The last time I had to hold my friend, she nearly fell. We had to hold.
Had to do what?
I had to hold my friend.
Oh, your friend. The person nearly fell into the pit.
Yeah, I had to hold her back. So something
Must have been terrible.
Yeah. So something must be done. They have to cover this. There are a lot.
There are many.
Yes.
Well, we are at the 9th pit, actually. We started all the way from Tetekwashi and we are halfway through, and it appears there are more ahead of us. If you've been using here from time to time or quite often, for how long have you found them in this state uncovered?
I've been using this place like for 3 months now. And some have been, like there is this stake that they've dipped. You can see those ones there. Maybe that one might give you some alerts that there is something there, but this ones, there is nothing here to show that.
That is even more risky.
Yes.
Thank you very much for sharing this concern with us. We are hoping that the leaders watching and having listened to you will come and then address it. So you would come back and share or tell your friends that, hey, upon sharing your concern, well, they were listening enough to then have intervened. Thank you very much for speaking to us on Metro TV's Community Watch. Good, so our dear friend hinted you of the fact that the remaining ones have long stakes placed in them. We are getting closer to see how they look like. Then we wrap up. Hopefully in our subsequent edition, we shall meet up with the local assemblies whose responsibility it is, even if not entirely on their shoulders. They have a stake in this to ensure that they fix the pits, the gully pits. So we meet up and then collectively we have them fixed for our own safety. The 10th gully pot, and it keeps getting worse with the number of waste that the gutter or the underground tunnel has collected. I see used clothes, rubbers or plastic waste, as well as branches from trees. This one, like the young lady mentioned to us earlier, is being used or are being used as alert to unsuspecting passers-by. So I want to take the trouble to remove this branch that you see. And because it collected a lot of waste, the situation or the material in there has virtually become like a mountain. So this slab that I am bringing, this wood that you see, may not be the entire length, but because the waste have actually mounted up, this branch you see only extends up to that point. I'm sure if it hadn't collected a number of waste, it would have required a branch longer than this to be able to reach the bottom and to have a section of it stepping outside of the pit in order to ward off people. But see, even taller than I am, I have had to take this trouble. Just imagine, taller than I am. So if I end up falling in this pit, it would cover me entirely. This situation is persisting in a strategic enclave. First-class residential and business area. We have the airport city not that far from here with several hotels located and businesses. It has to be attended to. It really has to. For how long should we appear quite unconcerned? There are people in charge. What is the monitoring teams doing? It should be part of their work. They should have eagle's eyes on every aspect, on every inch of their jurisdictions. So hopefully it is fixed. passerby. He's using this route, so might have observed the situation. Have you observed this situation?
Frankly speaking, this is my first time. Normally, I came to check on a business here. This is the first time I'm walking through this route. Normally, I use vehicle on this route, so I went to do something. I crossed the street just to pick a car, but I see the bus stop is at the other end. That's why I managed to use. But per safety precautions, it's not advisable, because probably in the night when the lights are off and you are passing, you never know there's a hole, then you may fall inside and you may get injured, and if probably God didn't come in, you may end up losing your life. If probably there's no one there to assist you, you enter, you scream, no one is there to help you. So I think it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. In the day, the reason we are passing, avoiding it is basically we can see. But if you can't see this hole, you may end up falling inside, and you may end up endangering yourself. And if nobody is around, you may end up even losing yourself, because there will be no one there at least to help you.
Which really shouldn't be. Even though today is your first time using this route, did it come to your attention? At what point did you notice them?
I didn't notice it until when I was coming. I saw you holding the stick. Me, because I was in a hurry, I was just passing. But when I saw you holding, I said, what is there? Before getting close, before I realized it's a hole. That day should have been.
I'm sure you may have even gone past a number of them without coming to that realization.
Normally it's true. Normally it's true.
Busy thinking of
other things, so you won't be able to look at these very important things that sometimes we take for granted.
And that's where just when you don't expect it.
It may be someone close to you who may end up endangering himself through this, how do you call it?
Gully pots or catch pit.
So I think it's important they do something about it. They do something about it.
Thank you very much for sharing this thought.
We will never take certain things important until we hear news about it. Someone got injured or someone lose his life as a result of it. So I think the necessary measures should be taken to actually seal that hole there. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Your name?
I'm George.
All right. George, thank you. You are still on Community Watch here on Metro TV with me, Gabriel Niobodai Togbo Ashon, with Rosemary Koko Anyigba and Joshua Thréát Adom. Today we've placed, or is still placing, the spotlight on gully pots, broken covers on gully pots along major highways and also in our communities, being left and not attended to, as a result posing threats or risk to passers-by. There are schools where you go and in front of them you would find these tunnels with their coverings off. The covers are not there. It shouldn't be, but we must swiftly come in and then have them addressed. That's the 11th gully pot with a very long stick or branch, much longer than what we had seen at the 9th end. We are left with about 3 of them, but let's do 2 more. It's quite exhausting now. I am quite exhausted, so we end it. You are still on Community Watch, and the highway you see is the Liberation Road. Runs all the way from Accra Central, Tema Station, all the way towards Madina and Adenta. We are looking at the state of gully pots, where the covering of these links to the underground tunnels are off, either stolen or broken. We are at the 12th gully pot or hole or pit without covering. The situation isn't limited to this area, which is close to the Tetekwashi interchange or the Accra Mall. Better still, we have the Accra Polo Court from a distance, but it could as well be found in several communities. Last week, as we were preparing to bring you this report, we inspected About 2 of them have not reached within the Korle-Klottey municipality. One is very close to the Akwaje interchange and another close to Alisa Hotel in the middle of a street which have not been attended to for several months. So at this juncture or at this point, I want to bring that visual your way to then understand that, look, this situation isn't limited only to the airport residential area, the airport residential area or the Tetekwashi enclave. Please take time to watch.
This thing, I'll be passing here all times, but I see this thing is very bad here because maybe sometimes car can fall on it, or you human being, if you are walking, is not as smart, you can fall on it and you hurt. So we are pleading to our leaders to fix this problem for it. Especially the place around La Wireless, opposite Circle Station. We have the same thing, and they are trying to do it, but still the concrete are breaking. So if we walk for that area, it's very dangerous. So yes, so we are pleading to our leaders to fix the problem give us.
Some time ago, somewhere last year, I went to Zoo to buy something, and then right behind the Trust Hospital, you could see one open culvert like this over there, and then there was this car just bumped onto it. In fact, I got scared, so I decided to do some follow-ups. And my investigation showed that somewhere around Bubuashi, there a lady from the market carrying a baby, and she has no knowledge about the open culvert, so she immediately stepped inside, and they struggled to bring her out. In the process, she died. And in fact, the way they narrated the story, I think something should be done. At least after I did a report at Osu, the residents and then the businesses around it, they came together and then they put resources together, and I think they fixed some of them. But the thing, it is becoming too much. Everywhere you go, you see some. Every area in Accra. So when? At least, if they are not bringing it, I have come. You can call them, and then try to probe to see whether it is true and to see if some action can be taken. But this was the case where the reception was kind of bad for me. Okay. Though we smiled together and we deliberated on issues. Exactly.
So that's another situation just happening to a car. We had to move because a driver just hit into one of the openings right here. Right, so we are ending the program here. It's still a long stretch, several of them right behind us, but having had about 13 of them, I think it's enough for now. We know that the message has gone across perfectly well, and we know that our leaders are caring, they are much concerned about the welfare of those they are leading, and they will step in to then have them addressed. I've been doing this together with Rosemary Koko and Nyigba. What's up, Rosie? How have you found the journey so far? You've been with a team back and forth and all that. How do you find it?
It's very dangerous because assuming that, for instance, if someone calls you behind you and you are close to it, but you don't know that that's a gully pot, and then you tend to wave the person, end up sliding and falling inside, that could really, really be a dangerous thing, and it may end up making you hurt yourself, maybe your leg or your arm or something, which is very, very bad. So I'm hoping that with all the people that we've spoken to and with all that have been shared today, the necessary stakeholders or the major stakeholders will take action and ensure that the gully pots are being covered to protect the citizens.
Okay. Thank you very much. A good call from Rosemary Koko Anyigba, my colleague here at Metro TV. We are hoping urban roads, the Ministry of Roads and Highways works department of the various municipal assemblies in this area. We have the Ladade-Kotopong Municipal Assembly extending to this point, same as Ayawaso West Wogon. We have the Ayawaso East to Kole-Klote, and we are hoping that indeed they'll have them addressed, so we'll report to you later. My name is Gabriel Niobodaya Topra Atunam Togba Shonkwaosonu, and I have done this together with
Rosemary Koko Aniba
and Joshua Taria Adom. Meet us same time next week. Bye-bye.